And but thank you for coming on the locals a little bit earlier. I think we're going to be going live till we're on the other platforms right now. Just give me a second, guys. It's been a couple of days and trying a few new things. Again, I explained from the very beginning, this is going to be trial and error, and it's going to hopefully get to some level of professionalism at some point. I wouldn't exactly count on it, but let's hope that it does. I just got to grab the Twitter link for the broadcast. I think we're live. Yeah, we are live. We throw it in Gettr so everybody has that. And then we're gonna start. Okay, click. Yes. Okay, good. I don't know why Rumble is not working. It was working last time, or it is working, or it's uploading after. I don't know. Maybe it's just not live on Rumble because I can't get the RMTP settings to work. If anybody knows anything about Rumble and setting up the RMTP settings, I've done what it's supposed to do. Doesn't work, like always. So we're just going to wing with it. So hey, everybody. And I want to wish all of you an amazing and wonderful good morning. I want you to have the best morning. So good morning to all of you. And I welcome you to, once again, the best morning of your week. It's even better than yesterday, I promise, or the day before. And we're going to start all of this from that positive frame where we focus on all the good things that are supposed to be going on. I see a little bit of buffering in YouTube. Don't worry, we'll get through it. Just give it some time. I don't know what's slowing down the internet connection here, if it's in the computer and stuff. So what I'm going to do as I'm talking, I'm just going to shut down a whole bunch of things so we don't use too much bandwidth. How is everybody? Have you had an amazing weekend so far? I have. It's been a crazy busy weekend, to be entirely honest. But it's been great. And the weather is wonderful. The weather is beautiful. I'm not thrilled that the days are getting shorter for those of us who are in the colder climate. But there's so much good going on in the world. And, I bring that up because, we were talking about it in a Twitter space a couple of days ago. And I was so happy and proud of this group that's been holding Twitter spaces since the Freedom Convoy. And they all got to know each other. They established friendships. The guy who hosts the two people who host the room, Jennifer and James, shout out to you guys. They made a decision. I don't know if it was because of I came in and brought this up, or they were just going in that direction anyways. And I think it's probably the latter. But they made this decision to, you know what, we're going to get away from the constant black pill. The black pill meaning everything is terrible, the world is falling apart, everything's horrible. And they're going to focus on those white pills, the good things that are happening. Yes, we understand there's a lot of problems in the world. There always is lots of problems. There always has been. But they want to do a little bit of acknowledgement and focusing on kind of the positive things, and which will allow them to address some of the more negative stuff. So I was very happy to see that after all this time of them coming together, they have made the conscious decision of, let's go in this direction and focus on positivity. So happy to see that. You guys are the best, and I'll try to join one of your spaces this week as soon as I get a spare second. So we've established this is the best morning of your weekend. And I hope the rest of your day is going to be awesome. So we're going to start it off right. I hope you all have your freedom coffee. I have my freedom coffee. And join me in having your first sip of your freedom coffee. And let's move forward to a couple of things. So, just as a side note, something just dawned on me. So when I start, I always put on some music just to kind of get you in the right vibe. And Weasel Words, afternoon from London, United Kingdom. Good to see you, mate. My one of my very best and closest friends is from Telford, actually. So Love that place. Hopefully you saw me on GB News. I was on there a few times. Anyways, back to my little, verbal diarrhea here. One of the things I love about Colombia specifically, where I go to, it's really popular? 80s music. I never understood it. All the time that I've been going there, like we always kind of, in Canada, at least in my experience, even during the 80s and after, is, oh, that's cheesy music. They love it there. And now you're starting to see this resurgence of 80s music, like modern style, like 80s style music, but new music. It's quite awesome. So, like, little things like those are the little things in life that we got to look at the positives to make us all, happy and focused on the positive frame as we move forward and we deal with these difficult issues. Weaselwood Family Community Centers, great, good to see you. I'm just going through some of the things in the live chat. We'll be getting more and more into the live chat as time goes on, so I encourage all of you to post your comments and questions in there, especially as we start to work together to dissect some of the things that have been going on over the next, a couple of months. I'm looking for your input, so tell me what you guys think. And if we work together, we'll be able to answer a lot of these questions as well, which I think is important. The honkingforfreedom.locals.com, I don't know what to do. Like, half the people say it works fine, half the people say it doesn't. And I finally triggered it on one of my computers that it wouldn't allow me to access the promo code box. So there's some sort of difference between the mobile version and the desktop version. So maybe that's where the problem is. I'm still trying to figure it out. As soon as I figure it out, I'll let you know. Art Queen says, good coffee comes from Colombia. Colombia is in the United States. Colombia is in South America. But yes, it does. And Art Queen, I got very sad news, actually, within the last few weeks. I'm not a big art guy, but, it's kind of important to know. And I have one artist who I really like by the name of Chuck Close. And I found out that Chuck Close died, I think in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, recently, within the last couple of years. So that was quite an amazing guy. Even if you're not into art, Chuck Close is fascinating. His whole life story, the disability that he dealt with, how he turned that into this this advantage in the art world. And if you've ever seen a color printer, and maybe because I used to have a printing company, so this resonates with me. But color printing is done in stages, like the digital printers. They'll print the magenta, then the cyan, then the yellow, then the black to all the shading. That is because Chuck Close inspired that. He was the one. That's how he painted. He would paint just one color, another color, and all the shading. It's quite amazing. So he was the inspiration for all of modern digital color printing. So it's amazing. Chuck Close was an awesome cartoonist. Was he a cartoonist? I didn't realize that as well. And he's got a painting at the AGO if you're in Canada. He's from New York initially, but he does have an amazing before his first stage and second stage after his spinal incident. But Chuck Close. Anyways. We're getting off into a tangent here. So, honkingforfreedom.locals.com. The free code to join is the word free, all capital letters, FREE, and the number 6. If you can access the link where it allows you to enter a promo code, it should allow you in. And I think you have tried a few times but got it to work. And so give it a try, okay? And let me know. Give me your feedback. If you are able to use it, please let me know. Things are not bad. They're always changing. This is from Canine Tracker. They're based on people waking up to what the wizard Klaus has been doing behind the curtain. Yeah, I don't think it's like I get the World Economic Forum is just trash. But I think it's just them and just one individual. It's a bunch of people who have competing interests, but they have a general direction they want to go in. And we always got to remember that it's not like it's like a political party. People all think a political party is one, homogenous entity. It's an organization full of backstabbers who are all backstabbing each other constantly, which is why I kind of stepped away from it significantly when I saw that. It's just not the culture I want to be part of. And I think the Klaus world, it's the same thing. It's all of these large multinational conglomerates who, hey, this is my buddy Klaus, but we're going in the same direction. But as soon as I can drive a knife in his heart, I will do so. So we should think about using that to our advantage over time. But anyways, who wants to talk about the Freedom Convoy? Because there's a lot of people who don't want me to talk about it. I had a very long conversation actually yesterday morning with a gentleman you might have heard of by the name of Jordan Peterson, who he's just an amazing dude. I'm going to do an episode just on him. Not get into the details of any of our conversations because it's all private, but it really saddens me when I see people on any political persuasion attacking him and smearing him, because I go through it. I don't really care. He gets exponentially more than most people in the world, and it's just he's just a genuine dude. So like I don't know. It's so it's disheartening that people are like that. Anyways, there is going to be, many of you know, I'm working on a book, and we are 42,000 words in, and simultaneously working on the rewrite and trying to finish it off, trying to get it out, before Christmas. And there's really no rush. What's important is the facts, right? The only thing that may change that is what are our constraints in terms of having an event and when we're going to do it. So there is going to be a book launch. I confirmed with the event this weekend. It's going to be a maximum of 200 people. There's probably going to be some significant people there in attendance and a couple of people speaking. I think it'll sell out if we sell tickets, and that's what I got to ask. But it'll be at capacity within minutes of announcing it. At least I'm hoping. And I just don't know. Do we sell tickets? Do we sell tickets and include a copy of the book? Do we sell cheaper tickets and buy the book there? Like, I don't know. We're trying to figure all that stuff out. And that kind of leads to the fact that you'll notice with some of the stuff, I'm not going to do it too much, but I got to monetize some elements of the platforms. Maybe certain articles. I have a very large, what Scott Adams calls a talent stack, which is why people try to make up conspiracy theories about me, I guess. But I do and have done many different things and have had many different careers and like to try to do a bunch of different things. Yes, you should be paid for your efforts. Well, thank you. That's very sweet of you. But I also don't want to be what we call a chazer. I'm not trying to. I don't want to milk people. I want to be fair. But at the end of the day, I am likely going to be incurring a lot of legal fees with respect to this Freedom Convoy. And I got to be prepared for it, just to, people, everyone's like, oh, you guys all, who's that? What's that girl's name? One of the truckers. She's like, oh, everybody took all the money. Firstly, it's all in escrow. And secondly, like, do you know how much money this cost me? Like, in lost wages? Just that alone. Like, it costs tens of thousands of dollars. Like, this is crazy. So to build all of this, to build it out, to get the book out, like, the book is going to be part of it. And so please don't get angry and upset with me. I'll try to keep it reasonable and limited, but at some point I'm going to have to monetize elements of the platforms. I'm in the US. Will we be able to buy your book? Yes, you will. I promise you. And you'll be able to buy it anywhere in the world. And there's going to be a few other little asterisks to go along with that. So not just that, there's going to be a little bit more, but more on that. But if you do want a signed copy from me, I don't know where you are in the US. If you're in like New York, well, I'm in New York frequently. I drive there frequently. If you're in what we call the upper right corner of the United States, anywhere around there, you're more than welcome to try to attend. And also, I don't know how to, if we're going to have 200 spaces, how do we determine who's going to be joining and not? Like, there's so many questions up in the air. I'll figure out a way. And also with the book, I have, I'm thinking about a little methodology to crowdfund some elements of the book, not money-wise, but in terms of content, to allow you guys to participate, and not only the people who are going to be contributing pictures, but just the thing overall in general. Art Queen is in upstate New York. Okay, well, was it yesterday, the day before? I was driving across I-90 to come back, as I often do, and so I was driving through Syracuse and Rochester and Buffalo to head back. So I am there very frequently, and most frequently probably in Batavia, if you know where Batavia, New York is. So let's get on to, so the monetization, I covered all of that. By the way, this is like the first time I've done notes, and I didn't even have a spare second to read them before I started. So if it's not smooth, well, I'm not the smoothest anyways, but you know why. So the burning question: was the Freedom Convoy sabotaged? Do you want to know? Or do you think people would be curious to know if it was sabotaged, and if so, by who, and how was it sabotaged, and what happened? Do you think that's relevant? Do you want to know all the things that were going on? Because there's so many, like I just had another conversation yesterday, all these stories that pop up. You know, somebody asks you a question, and you can't even, like they'll ask you, what happened on this day? I'm like, oh yeah, that's the day that blah, blah, blah. And like, well, you never told me that. I'm like, there's so many stories of things that went on. When is the book out? Will you print or use Kindle, digital print, print on demand? Yes, and more. So, yeah. Weasel Words, I love the name, by the way. Boy, you are so suited for what we were dealing with and some of the people we were dealing with that name. So if you want to know all the backstory stuff and all that, I mean, a lot of it, not all of it, you really are going to love the book. It's going to be completely different than the Freedom Convoy book by Andrew Lawton, which you should read. I haven't read the whole book. I've read excerpts and that people have sent me. Found some factual errors, Andrew Lawton, but Andrew Lawton is great, by the way. Did his best, tried to get it out really quickly, consulted with me and a whole bunch of stuff. But much like that article in Tablet magazine, you know, they'll take note and then they'll go back to writing and they'll confuse a couple of things. Like they'll confuse one conference with another conference, for example. So whatever, we all make mistakes and nothing's ever going to be 100% accurate, but we do our best. And I think Andrew did do his best and did a great job. I don't know that, when the assertion that, what did he say? Oh, he said something about that I wanted to ignore the mainstream media, but others in the convoy disagreed. I don't know. Nobody on my team disagreed. Nobody on my messaging team disagreed. At least not when we were together. They understood. Now, maybe they want to go back and rewrite history, but when we were together, I think they all understood the strategy of dwarfing mainstream media, which I think all indications show that we were successful. We got a comment on here on locals. Thank you so much for joining. Honestly, you have no idea how much that helps. Good book, but he puts his foot in his mouth in the conclusion, and referring to Andrew's book. Could be. I've heard something similar to that, but again, we do our best, and I appreciate the fact that he went out and he actually wrote the book, and so quickly. The manner in which he turned it around was amazing. Our Queen, I just got the book. Good so far. Okay, great. So, so what are the facts? Let's look at the facts. He describes the resumes of you, Barber, and Leach and claims no one had leadership skills. Yeah, I mean, the largest team I ever administered in a company was, with all the departments together, 2,000 people, I think, was the largest staff I ever administered. I mean, I dealt mainly with the regional managers and all that sort of stuff. And I'm, to a degree, corporately trained in that, so that's why I kind of understood. Like, so much of what went on every day, I was explaining this yesterday, every day I had people coming up to my hotel room, the ones who weren't combative with me, because there were some great people there. There really were great people that were trying to help out, and they would come into my hotel room freaking out about something, freaking out about, like, you name it, they were freaking out. And I understand everybody's under stress. They, these are not career protesters. This is all new to them. They wanted everything to remain peaceful. They didn't want any friction. They went out of their way to try to befriend the police, buy them coffee when they could. And that's why there was really good camaraderie in the beginning. But still, they would come freaking out. I spent so much of my time, much like on these streams, starting with, it's okay, relax, the world's not going to fall, the sky is not going to collapse on us. Yes, some politicians, local politicians, are saying stupid things. People are not evil, they're just incompetent. Don't worry about it. Let's sit down, let's talk for a few minutes, let's get everybody's head straight, and let's focus on all the things we've achieved, and everything is peaceful, everybody is happy. It's minus 40 degrees and people are out of their houses hugging each other and meeting new friends. And let's not forget that was important. So yeah, I spent so much of my time doing that. And there's a few people that were in the rooms and they could vouch for that. So I don't know, are those leadership skills? I don't know, maybe not. But I think there's an importance for not only communication skills, but, emotionally sensitive communication skills, especially when people are in that state of severe stress. That's self-induced. Many of the times it was just self-induced. It was just like, hey, listen, look around. Everything's great. Everything's fine. We'll sort all of this out. Everything's going to be great. So, looking at the facts, we know, because we have it on record, that there was a city council meeting with the mayor and a bunch of councillors and the Ottawa police welcoming the protesters and the Freedom Convoy into Ottawa. Let's not forget that. They welcomed us in there, and they helped the team that was already on the ground to set up the trucks in a way that minimum impedance to the city, it would keep everybody safe, emergency vehicles would be able to navigate. And I want to thank the Ottawa City Council and the Ottawa Police for helping us with that. We really appreciated that, for helping us make it safe for everybody. And you do get credit for that, for helping us come in and stage in a way that it allowed the city to operate with relative normality despite the claims from the fake news media. Yeah, there's one street that was completely blocked up, and that's why there were routes around Ottawa. And if you saw a few, most of the people who live in Ottawa, it's the whole bureaucracy, Liberal Party staffers, government staffers, whatever. Despite there's two people that went and showboated on the street about how their life is falling apart because there was honking for a night. That was just theatrics. And we all knew that because we had to sleep too. So, all right. So thank you, Ottawa, for welcoming the Freedom Convoy into Ottawa. That was wonderful, and I encourage everybody to watch that city council meeting. I'll see if I can find it. They helped us set up, staged. That was amazing, and it's also important to remember that why was the Freedom Convoy there? It was there for two reasons, only two reasons, nothing more, and the mandates. Remove the digital tracking app, the ArriveCan app. That's it, which we are now learning is a complete disaster, and more on that later, right? And that's also why it was an easy, vibe for people to get peaceful, because they weren't demanding anything that was abnormal. They're just demanding a return to normal, and they didn't want the government to be tracking them the same way that China tracks their people. That's it. That's all it was. So it was great. And also in that first meeting, no, that was the first meeting. I think it was the second meeting where Chief Slowly, whatever his name is, said that the Freedom Convoy was so peaceful that there's no reason for the police to act, and it requires a political solution. And I got to say to Chief Slowly, bravo. Because again, I have family in policing and many friends in policing, and what do they complain about all the time now is how politicized policing has become, and that politicians are constantly meddling in policing. And by the way, I know all their names, and I know who they call, and I know what they ask for. So I know a lot of stuff, by the way, a lot. I keep a lot of stuff quiet to myself. But anyways, the who will be cast as BJ in the movie? Come on, stop. Stop. You know what? The problem is movies suck now. All movies are woke. So if we can have, maybe Daily Wire can start doing movies and do something on us. Who knows? They're talking about what you're going to say names of actors. I don't even know who any of these people are. Like, I grew up watching Star Trek and documentaries. Like, I'm not a big, I saw some movies and whatever, but I'm just more into information and learning and that sort of stuff. So I don't know many actors. I know Johnny Depp. We talked about him on our podcast. By the way, tonight is an episode of Not on Record that is releasing at 8 o'clock tonight. And the title is, I think, The Problem with Alex Jones. It's quite funny. They're not, it's an interesting episode. So, and that is Diana Davison, who is a very famed YouTuber, and Joseph Newberger, who is an amazing criminal lawyer and a good friend and a wonderful dude. So check it out, Not on Record, tonight at 8 o'clock. You can just go to YouTube, type in Not on Record podcast, or in Spotify, whatever, and you can watch it there. Okay? And I may be in the live chat. I may not. Depends on how many things I have going on. So the police chief said we need a political solution. Great. Now, what was going on behind the scenes, which some of it will be covered in the book, is all the opportunist groups that were trying to take over everything and trying to either intentionally or unintentionally sabotage us. And it's really interesting as 6 months goes by and I and other people are able to go through a whole litany of chats and emails. Well, not emails so much, right? But like just in general, you see, I should say Twitter's probably the best, because there's only a little bit of communication internally because we're so busy, right? There was so many things going on. And I don't know if you saw, like once I broke my ankle, I spent all day, just about every day, doing interviews. That's what I was focusing on. So I didn't really have time to communicate with people. But when you go back and you look at Twitter and you see what people were posting and they start to put things together and think, that's very interesting. It's a good thing I know a lot about private jets, and I can tell the model of a private jet by the nacelle of its turboprop. So you correlate that by region and by paint color, and then you can figure out the person who is behind some of this stuff, or the corporation. But anyways, more on that. That'll get interesting as time goes on. So many people were holding unauthorized press conferences. That was the daily the daily problem that Tamara and I had to deal with was who called a press conference today? Oh, Randy Hillier. Who's that guy? I know, some guy called a press conference. Like every time we turned, somebody else is calling a press conference on behalf of the Freedom Convoy, and it was such a colossal waste of time. But was that an attempt to intentionally sabotage? I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they just believed in freedom so much that they're the only ones who should be able to talk and collect money. By the way, that was the thing everybody was obsessed with. Tamara and I didn't care. It's not our money. It's for the truckers. We wouldn't care. But people were just obsessed with money. And it's just maybe because, like, I do have friends with, we call real money, like real money, not like they have $10 million. I mean real money. And in that space, in that world, like, I'm friends with them because I never ask them for anything. And I never want to, never will. And it's just a different world, and their view on money is very different. But you can see many of these groups had this sort of groups, organizations, political people. They just have a peasant worldview on money, and that's what they behave like. They behave like peasants. So, but again, more on that. And that is not to criticize people who are poor, people who are economically struggling, because I have many of those friends in Latin America, and I know what they go through, and I've helped some of them out. So, it's not always people's fault. But I'm saying the attitude, and these people are middle class and upper middle class, but they behave like peasants. So, anyways. So many people were holding these unauthorized press conferences. Many political parties were, like, from early on, trying to get in on the action and take over the narrative and input their own people as spokespersons. Like, when it started, when they first started to try to meddle with the Freedom Convoy, and I have the emails, by the way, kept them all. January 25th. Before anybody arrived in Ottawa, already a political party and a guy who's a former MP who wouldn't tell me he was I'm just a staffer. Yeah, fucking lying asshole. Again, more on that later, because this will go on. Because it's so esoteric and it's so complex, there's so much content that it's going to take a while to kind of dissect this sort of stuff. But again, were these people intentionally trying to sabotage the Freedom Convoy? I don't know. I can't read their minds. They seem to be very, very enthusiastic for one reason or another. But was it malicious? I don't know. But maybe we'll be able to find that out together. There were so many things in flux, and that's why I think you understand that's why I'm writing a book. And honestly, the book could have been 80, 100,000 words. But, it's just John and I discussed, okay, we're not going to write War and Peace. It's not going to be a boring chronological order of this happened this day, this happened this day, this happened this day. No, it's going to be something completely different. And I said to John, he said, well, there's no sort of genre for this type of book. And I said, okay, so we'll invent a genre. Okay, that's fine. We'll just do things a little different. So, but it's going along great, and learning so much. We know that the convoy started out west with a group of people, a small group of truckers, friends of Tamara. Chris and Bridget were part of that, and a few other people. And Tamara has a really big infrastructure of just close friends in Alberta, just because she's always been active in a whole bunch of causes, and she has this amazing talent. You know what Tamara's amazing talent is, and John described it perfectly, and this is 100% it. Tamara is one of those people that you could be in a room with 10,000 people and be in line to speak with her. And you finally get the chance to talk to her face to face. And she has this amazing quality. And I think this comes from, she has very centered, positive energy and very spiritual. And it's very important to her. At least she told me that many, many times. And that's what we kind of bonded on. And I mentioned that before. She has this amazing ability, despite all the noise in the world around you. It's just you and her, just the two of us. Everything else just disappears because she gets so engaged in everything that you're talking, in your conversation when you talk to one another. That's her strength. And we all have strengths and weaknesses, but that is her core strength, her ability to emotionally connect with anybody and make anybody she's talking to think that I care about only you and our conversation right now. And it's genuine. Like, it's not an act. That's how she is. She's amazing. And you know what? Her husband, Dwayne, he's a good dude too, man. He's like salt of the earth musician guy. He's just like, I mean, I used to play in bands when I was younger, and he's so typical of people that I used to play music to. That doesn't care about politics, doesn't care about any of this sort of stuff. Just wants to have a good positive life and a good positive vibe. And I got to know him a little bit better in Ottawa when he was there for the short period of time. But he's a good dude. He really is. They all are. Okay, so we know numerous political parties were trying to take over the momentum of the Freedom Convoy, make it theirs. Many organizations, and we'll get into the details over time, what these organizations were, what they were doing behind the scenes, and we'll be able to determine, well, was this negative, was it malicious or not? The whole world was behind us. Like, I don't watch fake news because I just cut it out years ago in my life. So I didn't know, like, I didn't find out that the CBC was trying to peddle some fabricated narrative that it was a Russian operation. And you know what? When the CBC did that, because I have nothing but contempt for their stupidity, that's when I responded to Russia Television or Russia Today. I responded to this guy, Pav, because I was getting media requests from all over the world. BBC, CBC, obviously, BBC, all the American outlets, Australia, Germany, all over the place. Most of them lefty, as we know. So that means most of them just go right to... And I have a filter on my email that says, I'm a reporter with. So if somebody sends me an email that says, I'm a reporter with, it goes directly to the trash. I don't even see it. Yet some of them still manage to get through to me. And so when one of the people on the team said, yeah, CBC is now saying it's a Russian hoax, I said, Privyet? That means I have to respond to that guy Pavel and Russia Today, and I have to go on their TV spot because I want to see if I can get those morons to spin up this narrative. I want them to go on and start trying to sell the narrative that this is a Russian hoax, right? Or that this Russian hoax is reality. So I tried, went on Russia Today. That's the interview that's on my channel, because I don't know what happened with Russia Today around Ukraine. I think their channel got nuked or something. So I uploaded the interview just so it's there for archival sake. But it was a good interview, at least in my opinion. So the fake news was frozen out of I'm going to call them the official press conferences, not the one that people would just, hey, I want to have a press conference. I just showed up for Ottawa. I want to have a press conference, The ones that we did, strategically, officially align with the organization and our messaging and our goals. We only 3 of them. We had one each week. And then we had a speech after the prayer service on the Sundays. That was it. Anything else you're seeing is external forces trying to take over what we were doing and lay claim to it and cash in on it. So in the press conferences, which you may have seen online, Kean Bexty has the first one. John has the links to the other. We'll talk about those more and more moving forward. But the National Telegraph was there, the Post Millennial, Epoch Times, Kean Bexty was there, Andrew Lawton was there, who wrote the book. We had a few people from Epoch Times, I think we had 3 or 4. A bunch of independent creators and some other alternative media. The room was packed. I mean, small rooms, so which is part of the justification of why we couldn't fit so many people in there. But yeah, it was great. And it's interesting. We were in a position where the police said, "Hey, this needs a political solution." Everybody was peaceful. You can navigate the city. I'll get to your comments in a second, guys. Just keep typing, and I'll get to it in a second. Everything was peaceful. Everything was great. People were out of their houses, meeting friends. Apparently, there's some people who've now a couple of couples have had kids, or they have kids or pregnant, have as a result of either meeting each other at the Freedom Convoy, or just solidifying their relationship and deciding they want to get serious and have a family. And maybe it's because of the vibe that they saw there. Maybe, I don't know, but I want to think that that's what it was, because that's the sort of love and compassion that I saw on the ground there. So that's how everything was. I don't remember the specific dates. There's so many dates I'm dealing with right now with so many different people, trying to get things sorted out, so I get a little lost. You got to remember, for me, it's like one long blur. Those 3 weeks feel like a day. Like, it was crazy. It was just nonstop. And so that's where we were. And then something changed. Well, what changed? Something changed as a result of people making calls or doing things or setting up meetings or doing things without our knowledge. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But something definitely changed, and you could see some of the tone and what people were putting online was not in line with what we were doing. Because if you followed any of Tamara's Twitter account, my Twitter account, everything was focused on the positive, right? And so what changed? I don't know. But was it the attitude of the Ottawa City Council that changed when that I don't know, woman, she's this woman who's she's some counselor, and she went from we support the right to protest and freedom of speech to going full commie and trying to shut everything down. So what caused all that? Who caused that? Who was it one individual person? Was it an organization? Was it a couple of organizations? Was it a political party? I mean, this is the greatest whodunit in Canadian history of finding out who was pulling strings behind the scenes to change things up. Weasel words, the BBC did not report the truth over here. I was watching live and could see the narrative being spun by the media. Yeah, listen, I almost got baited in. Firstly, of course, that's why I ignored all the BBC's requests. I almost got roped into the New York Times. I had a friend who I trust, and I know it wasn't malicious, a journalist, who said there's somebody from the New York Times, they want to do a fair story on this and whatever. And I said, yeah, New York Times, come on. Like, no. We need credible news sources. And they convinced me to just talk to this person. I said, I'll tell you what. Give my my WhatsApp chat, my phone number, and tell them to contact me on WhatsApp. And I did. So I started getting a message, hello, blah, 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 whatever. And this person was Mexico. I was going to speak in Spanish. I wanted to practice, but I didn't. And I said, there was a whole bunch of questions. What's the Freedom Convoy about? And blah, blah, blah. And a whole long list of things. And I wasn't answering because I was so busy, right? I think I might have even been in an interview when the first batch of questions sent. And there was like 6 or 7 conversation threads. And then the last one was, I'm not going to get into the details, but was a smear. One of the smears, hateful, bigot, racist, white supremacist. What about the claims that you're all a bunch of white supremacists? Like that sort of nonsense. And I thought, you almost got me. Yeah, you almost got me, New York Times. But no. You're fake news. I know exactly what you're doing. You're trying to spin a narrative. So, muchas gracias por todo, pero no. And that was it. So, but anyways, I think we need to consider all of these questions. Look at all the organizations that were hovering around the Freedom Convoy, all the people, politically motivated, and not politically motivated, I guess, but although there weren't very many. There were some great people. Like Viva Fry was amazing. He was so amazing. That guy, he is so solid and down to earth and no BS and just the facts. I love that guy, and it was such a pleasure doing an interview with Viva Fry. I think the interview's still on his channel, But wow, was I so fat back then. Anyways, so is there, I mean, like, I need to ask you guys, because we're going to go through this exercise together over time. What do you think? Do you think it was sabotage? Do you think there was an individual, or it was a group, or whatever? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Let's look at it this way. Take the Freedom Convoy outside of this. If any of you watching this have ever been part of any organization, any club, any community group, like I've been part of, the Corvette group for a little while, the Honda motorcycle group for a while, we all join these different community groups and whatever. And depending what it is, like, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these groups be sabotaged. But you know what it looks like? It looks like exactly what happened to the Freedom Convoy when that happens. So I don't know. But I encourage everybody to start doing lots of research in terms of the people who are around, all people affiliated or were trying to lay claims or tweeting on it or trying to get on stage, trying to give speeches, trying to build YouTube channels and whatever, on Twitter Spaces. I mean, there's a lot of good people. And I want to just point out that fact. I couldn't go into the Twitter. So there's a whole bunch of people doing different Twitter Spaces. Some are politically motivated hits, which I have no interest in that. But then there were some people that were really, really good people that were good sound. They just cared. And I mentioned James and Jennifer. I'll put their @ handles in the description when I'm done, so you can go join their Twitter Spaces. And we disagree on stuff, but that's the whole point. It's a room for us to disagree and agree and have open, positive conversations about stuff. So people like that were doing streams, doing spaces, and I wouldn't get to be able to even see YouTube until like 11:30, 11 o'clock at night. And I'd open YouTube and I'd see there's guys streaming on the streets and whatever, and I'd watch it for 20 minutes or so, a half hour or so before I would turn in for a few hours and wake up early. And all of you who did that, thank you. I am in your debt. I owe you so much gratitude, because we couldn't handle it. We were, putting out fires all over the place. And I know there's a lot of really good people out there, a lot of you, that just wanted to get the truth and the message out. You understand that the fake news media is all scripted and all narrative, and you're investing your time and your lives and just to tell people the truth. And I know you guys aren't journalists, guys and gals, by the way, but I know you weren't journalists, and you were just doing it from the heart because you cared and you wanted to support these truckers who were parked on the highway, parked on the most of them were in parking spots, by the way, in the freezing cold, while the government and police seized their property, their gasoline cans, to try to freeze them at night. That's what happened to Canada during this event. So thank you, all of you who took time out of your life and your days to try to get the word out. That was amazing. It really was. And that's, I got a bunch of questions here, but I'm going to save them for the next stream, maybe tomorrow. And but it was amazing. I can't thank you enough. And that's why I think, I wanted to focus on all the sort of positive energy on these spaces, because this is going to be going on for a while. Apparently there's some sort of commission being held that just got on my radar recently. I mentioned it last week. I don't even know the details. We're trying to figure it out. And but the fact that you guys were all there was it was amazing, and it was so touching. I can't remember one of the guys on YouTube. He was basically just walking around in a camera every day. And for me, because I had my broken ankle, I couldn't go out anymore. Aside from, on my crutches to the stage every Sunday to say thank you to everybody after the services. I mean, it took me 45 minutes to crutch up there, just a few blocks, because it was all ice, and the police blocked off 3 streets close to from 3 streets away from Parliament Hill. They were blocked off. And I remember asking one of the cops, like, the first time, I'm like, dude, I got a broken ankle. Can I just like get somebody just to drive me the 2 blocks? It's going to take me forever, and it's all ice here. No, sorry. And I thought, yeah, rookie. that's what a veteran cop would say, at least in my experience with the cops that I know. So I'm going to save the questions for tomorrow. I will do a live stream tomorrow. Pick your brain. Go back, see what was being posted online in February, and see if you can start to piece together who was doing what, if there were nefarious actors or nefarious organizations. Who were they? What did they say? And I invite you to come back and just start putting that in the live stream. Send me messages. Go on to Twitter and explain it, and engage in some dialogue so we can get some clarity on these issues, and we'll go from there. Okay, so a couple of comments. What changed? It was fatigue amongst the convoy, or the political push and the media backing. Yeah, might be a one from each column there. There's definitely some truth in that. Say what you will about politicians, but there is a reason most don't do presser after presser. Yeah, I mean that's. Oh God, some people want let's do a press conference every day. I'm like, why? Just sit and wait. Just this is a game of chess. It's patience. Everything's calm. Why stir the net and give the impression that we're anything other than just peaceful? Just wait. They'll come to us. They know we're not evil. We know they're not evil. We'll engage in dialogue. But no, certain people have to, step on the gas because they got to be in control. Okay. Same with legacy media. Okay, everybody agrees the media sucks. That's not unusual. I'm not qualified to judge being in the U.S., but over here, that kind of thing happens a lot. Yes, it does, and I'll give you an example. So I've met Brian, and I recently got in touch with one of his friends. Brian ran the Convoy in the United States. And they did what happened in 2018 in Canada with the last convoy that Tamara was a part of, that I wasn't part of that convoy. And which is, I think, part of the reason she reached out to me and asked me to help with the messaging and being a spokesperson, all that sort of stuff. Because I know some of the problems that happened. And it was a divide and conquer. And by the way, it was the Conservative Party that completely tanked it, which is why I didn't want the same thing to happen this time. And you'll notice with the U.S. convoy, when did it all die out? Well, they were trying to decide should they go into Washington, D.C. or not. And one of them reached out to me, and I said, I wouldn't do that. That's not what I would do. The United States is a very different country than Canada. Very different, customs, how government operates. It's far more militarized than Canada is. As bad as some of our people on the extremes are in Canada, they're nowhere near the government's nowhere near usually as aggressive as in the United States. I'm like, I wouldn't do that. There's other strategies that you could use that doesn't disrupt people's lives and doesn't, you don't want to rattle the cage of the 3-letter organizations in the United States. It's like, that's not what I would do. But what they did do is, right around that time, politicians were reaching out to them like they were trying to reach out to us, and I'll talk more about that in the future. So I remember seeing a report on, I don't know, something on one of my feeds came up. One of the news agencies had Ted Cruz in a truck. He was in a Packard, which was either a Peterbilt or a Kenworth. I don't know which one. And I think it was a Peterbilt, if I'm not mistaken. But anyways, I saw Ted Cruz in a truck with a whole bunch of truckers, and I thought, it's done. It's over. It's absolutely done. Because that's what's going to happen. The politician, and by the way, I like Ted Cruz. That's not a criticism of Ted Cruz. But the politicians have to do their job as well, right? And what was that? That was him doing the same thing that happened in 2018, saying, okay, we heard you. Thanks, guys. We support you. We'll be fighting for you. Now it's time to go home, right? And that's what Ted Cruz's office did, which, they had gone through that in Canada once before, and it didn't yield any change, right? If anything, things got worse. So I think in the case of the United States, that was probably a good move. But it was an even better move not to go into Washington. I would not do that in the United States. You saw what they did after the January 6th protest. And so they're just too trigger happy there. Canada and the United States are completely different in that respect, which is why it was so shocking to see what the politicians did in Canada. The next Weasel Words. Thanks for all your comments, guys. Like you're amazing. I appreciate it. The dirty tricks played on the Eastern European drivers was very apparent. Once they picked off individuals, it created internal tension. Yeah, and what's interesting is, was there somebody on the inside of the Freedom Convoy that was helping to make that happen? I wonder, if there was, who would that person be? Was me. I'm doing interviews with a broken leg in a hotel room, and I don't have a spare second to even watch YouTube to see what's going on. So was there somebody there doing that, or a team of people doing that? I don't know. Do you need a license from the government to be a journalist in Canada? I think I read that somewhere. No. Any government that says you need a license to be a journalist, to talk about what they see and the truth, that's a dystopian communist shithole. Sorry. Which is what Justin Trudeau and his Argentinian commie is trying to bring to Canada with this Bill C-11. Funny little fact, if you look into the background of, what's his name? Pablo Rodriguez, the guy who wants to bring in the censorship bill. Well, his father was in La Guerra Sucia in Argentina. Isn't that interesting? Why is he in this country? Anyways. Well, listen, I have a lot of experience in Latin America. As you know, I have lots of friends in Latin America, and, it's quite concerning that that kind of garbage is here. Not Latin Americans, but that kind of nonsense is anywhere near power in Canada. It's very, very concerning, and we'll talk more about him in the future, because that's really, really concerning. I explain this to friends of mine in Latin America, who this guy is and what his father was a part of in Argentina, and their eyes just bugged out of their heads and they went white. Said, what is wrong with Canadians? How naive are you in Canada? And I said, no, extremely naive. We think we know everything about the world, but we really know we're very similar to the Americans like that. None of us could point out 3 countries in Latin America and who their presidents are. That's just the way we are. But we think we know, which is sometimes more dangerous. What is ZOT? I have no idea. I'm not sure what that is. Bias towards doing stuff. Oh my God, I hate Pablo. Well, I'm glad there's some people that realize it. Oh, and somebody said, there was another message when you popped up about Tamara and legal fees. For the class action suit, the legal fees are all in escrow. All the money is in escrow. I know. I should find it. Their family put up a GoFundMe because they're having money issues as she was not at work. So they need a little bit of help. And I think that raised about $40,000. There's the organization that has been involved in the Freedom Convoy, whether good or bad, that's been trying to raise money for her defense, which is good. And I think what they need is an audit and accounting of all the money and how it's being utilized. But yeah, there are groups that are helping to raise money. It's just we're still in a little bit of the fog of war as I've been trying to piece everything together. Let's say the tail end of the fog of war. Fog is starting to clear, and now we're trying to pick up the troops and trying to figure out how to put the pieces back together and where we are. So there's a little bit of that going on. That's why it's still a little clunky. It's like an operating system that's not smooth, but we'll get there. Anyways, wow, this was by far the longest, and I hope this would be the shortest. I will stop with the verbal diarrhea and keep it more concise moving forward. Follow me on Twitter and on Gettr. Both are at BJ Gettr. The Substack, bjdichter.substack.com. I'm going to try to get that Substack out tonight or tomorrow. I don't know. I gotta work on it right now, but I got another big meeting ahead of me. These streams, locals, this was on Rumble. I don't know if it was live streaming, but it will be on Rumble as well. So please don't hesitate to share it. So local, Rumble, Twitter, Gettr. Do we have everything right now? I'm going to add some more. I'm trying to get Telegram working. I don't know why the RTMP settings or RMTP settings, whatever. I don't know why they're not working, but it is. And I just apologize ahead of time that there will be some monetization. I'm going to try to keep it limited, but it's going to be a necessary evil, and I promise it's going to be going to the legal defenses and any sort of adversarial issues that I'm going to have to deal, I and others will have to deal with moving forward. But, you know, I'll try to keep it in check and not be a chazer about it, not be a pig about it. Okay, so thank you, everybody. I'm late. I'm really late. Again, I love you all. Let's keep everything peaceful. Have the best day of your weekend. Be kind to everybody. Be good to strangers. It makes you feel better. You know, you go to get gas at the gas station. Just be nice and cool to the guy behind the gas station. It's amazing how much better you will feel and how much better your day will be. Okay, talk to you soon. I'll do something tomorrow, and love you all. Bye-bye. Where's the finish? Okay.